During the early 80s, I was in Oregon, and we heard about this governor in Kentucky that was offering incentives to locate industries in the state. And we said, whoa, that's going to change the equation. And it certainly has. And Peter Drucker, in his book, Post-Capitalist Society, talked about Kentucky, and he referred to Kentucky as a poor rural southern state that gave up the store to create a few low-paying jobs in the auto industry. And I'm proud to introduce the governor who had the wisdom, the courage, the vision to offer a company like Toyota incentives to bring about Kentucky's economy as we know it today. And as Steve Beshear recently said, the automotive powerhouse. That's the Kentucky economy. Martha Lane Collins was elected governor in 1983. It didn't take her long to get organized. In 1984, she was chairman of the Democratic National Convention. I think she got put on every board that the Southern Economic Development Group had. She was chairman or associated with it. But I think what we can look at today, and we can say there's 450 automotive-related manufacturing firms in Kentucky. And I think that's due to Martha Lane's vision, and it took a lot of encouragement. I know a lot of courage. I know she got some criticism for it at the time. But anyway, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Martha Lane Collins, former governor of the Commonwealth of Kentucky.
Thank you. It's good to see you all. I am so glad to be here. I appreciate the invitation. I hope you didn't come for a really speech, because I'm not going to give you one. I came to reminisce a little bit. I came to think about some of the things that have gone on. You know, I said I could start when I first started school, and you all could hear my life story, but I think that would be boring. I want to talk about what you all have done. I'm here to congratulate you, to tell you how very appreciative we truly are of the job that you've done here. I can remember coming into Marion County back in the early 80s, and going to the Masonic building out there where we had our dinners. How many of you can remember that? Some of you are new. You don't, you know, gee, we've got a lot of learning to do here today. But that was in the good old days, and it just so happened that there was a little company called Fannis that had Marion County on their list, and they weren't supposed to show Marion County to anybody because you had a problem. I don't know what it was, but you had a problem. And so I kind of watched that, and then of course I came to St. Catherine in 1990 and was here from 1990 to 1996. And I am so proud to have had a part in that, in the growth, in setting the path. But I have to thank you all again, because you all played a very, very important role in what's happened at St. Catherine College. And St. Catherine plays a very important role in what happens to you all business-wise and in attracting other businesses and that type thing. But I'm proud of the job that you've done of importing and exporting, of creating jobs, of training your people, of having vision to look for the future. That's if I've got a problem, and one of the ones that's been hard for people to adopt and for me sometimes to live through, and that is that if you ask me what happened last week, I probably can't tell you, because that's been done. It's recorded. If we need to look it up, we can. I'm looking down the road, 5, 10, 15 years. I got 5 grandkids. I can't quit work. I got to keep going. We got to have education. We got to have jobs. We've got to have all those things for my kids, your kids, grandkids, great-grandkids to come. So we have work to do. And that's what we have to do. You know, here you are about, what, 21,000 people? And you're growing, and that's great. But as I say, I can remember when, and now you're diverse. You've got plastic, wood, auto, bourbon, food. We could go on and on and on. And that's just the beginning. And I know you're looking down the road and you're planning for other things in the future. And that's great. But I also feel compelled today to say to you, so it's good. It can always be better. That's what I used to tell my staff. Drove them crazy. We only had 4 years, 4 short years to get things done. And they were so proud. I'd give them a project. They were so proud, and they'd come in, and I was not a real flowery, you know, person, and I'd say, so it's good. We can make it better. And they'd look at me and shake their head like, yeah. And then, you know, if it was a group that had done a really good job, they got another job. The group that didn't do so well were worried. They were waiting for that next assignment. And what you have here, and the reason that you all have been so successful, is because you're a team. No one person can do the job. I don't care what it is. No one person can do it. It takes a team. And that's what you've got. And you've got to keep making that team stronger and better and wiser and more informed. And you've got to bring up your young people to know what they've got to know, that they've got to work hard, that they've got to take responsibility, and be prepared for the workforce. As you sit here today, right now, as you sit here today, half of the world is asleep. They've already lived today. They're getting ready for another day. And the question we have is, did they make better business decisions than we're making today? Are our young people learning as much as their young people have learned? It's a big world out there, but it's getting smaller. And the competition gets tougher. And we have to compete. And America has got to compete. And Kentucky has got to compete. And Kentucky can compete, let me tell you. I was so proud of the fact that, you know, I'm so glad I was representing Kentucky. Anywhere you go in the world, they've heard of Kentucky. Kentucky bourbon, Kentucky fried chicken, Muhammad Ali. I mean, they know Kentucky. I was glad I wasn't representing North Dakota or somebody like that, you know. But they like Kentucky, and we have a lot of friends around the world. And those are the kinds of things that we want to remember, that made in America is good, made in Kentucky is great. It's great. So I'm compelled to say, don't rest on your laurels. Evaluate every single day. Where are we going from here? What's going to happen? We know about the market here in the States. We know that there are markets across the pond in different places in the world where we can sell product. And Kentucky has a lot of good products and a lot of good services. Don't forget the services that can go overseas. And we need to push that. And of course, we've been on the road. Brad's here. Maybe Brad might want to say something in a minute if we decide to let him. But we've been going on the road talking to counties because we're interested, obviously, in the large companies, that you're doing well, that you're healthy, that everything's growing and you're happy. But we're also interested in the small and the medium-sized company. and we want to be sure that we help those companies as much as we possibly can. When I was in office, I saw a lot of organizations that were out there trying to help companies, but there was duplication, and a lot of them were spending money, okay? What we've done is to put together the World Trade Center, the State Chamber of Commerce, state government, CAM, the Kentucky Manufacturers Association, the commercial services out of the State Department, out of Washington, D.C., the Department of Commerce out of Washington, D.C., and we're working as a team. So when you take them into a county, and we've been here, we can come back. We'll be happy to come back anytime we're invited. But we want to sit down and help people find out how they can export more or start exporting if they've never done it. The translation, finding good distributors, all of the government stuff that you have to go through, we can help with all of that and try to encourage companies to look at it. Because to me, and I'm looking down the road, the future for Kentucky is international. It's global. It's going to get more and more so as we go. So anyway, that's enough of my commercial. You had Jiro here. Some of you got to see Jiro. And Jiro Hashimoto was our contact in Japan. And I said, when somebody says something about what happened with Toyota and how we've grown, I say, it's because we had a team. There were a lot of people. They all had a job to do, and they all did it. And so, yeah, I have to give credit to the team. Jiro Hashimoto was our contact in Japan. He did an excellent job, a wonderful job. I saw him the other night, and I was just making very sure that he understands that he's still working for Kentucky. He may have retired, and he may have gone into, to his business, but Kentucky comes first. Don't forget that. You might get to help one of those other states, but Kentucky comes first. If we don't want it, they can go there. Okay? It's tough. The competition is tough. We have 7 states around Kentucky. None of them were our great buddies when I was governor. They love to say, well, education's not so good in Kentucky, or they go barefoot, or they don't have any teeth, or there are a lot of things they said about Kentucky, okay? So we tried to figure out ways that we could compete and we could win, and we did win because we had people in Kentucky who were working as team players and did a great job. In Lexington every day, and I'm not saying this because I'm in Lebanon and Marion County, but we do have basketball teams in Lexington. I know there's some at the other parts of the state too, which I'm for. I'm kind of wear their colors sometimes, but when they don't play each other. But I know we're delighted to have EPS, and we're delighted. We're watching, what's her name, Goodwin Rogers. Very concerned about her, so I hope you all will keep her, all of you will keep her in your prayers. And there's things, of course, Tom, I remember Tom from a long time ago. We go way back when we started down here doing things. As I say, I'm proud of St. Catherine. I want you to tell everybody. I want you all to remember them if they come around and ask you for help, to keep helping them. They do an outstanding job over there, going 4 years in a lot of courses, growing in numbers, and it's a great attribute for you all. One time when I was at St. Catherine, we didn't have any money. Those of you remember, John?
Sure do.
We didn't have any money.
I still see it.
Well, I mean, but it's easier to get now than it was maybe at that time. Anyway, it's a great school, okay? And I remember one time I brought Lou Holtz in, and he tells the story because I kept asking him to come, and he kind of put me off, and I kept asking him to come, and finally he says, that woman wouldn't take no for an answer. And so he came in, and he spoke. He gave our commencement address, and of course I had Tip O'Neill come in one time and give our commencement address. But Brad sent me an email the other day, and on his email he has a quote, And I thought it was very appropriate that we think about this today. Ability is what you're capable of doing. Now, this is Lou Holtz talking to his football players, I'm sure, or when he's giving his speeches. Ability is what you're capable of doing. Motivation determines what you do. Attitude determines how well you do it. You all have already been living that. I just challenge you, keep plugging, keep working hard every day. As long as you look in the mirror and you can say to yourself, I've done my best. Because that time when we announced that Toyota was coming to Kentucky, I had probably the 6 toughest months of my life. 6 of the toughest months of my life. Because people didn't understand, didn't know what was going to happen to us, thought I had sold the Capitol Dome, gave it away. Well, Tom was talking about how the reputation, Kentucky's given away in city. Yes, but you had to earn it. You had to earn it. You had to pay it back. You had to give us more than we gave you to come. And many of you all have worked with our state. All I want to say is I'm not retired. I'm still working. If there's anything I can do to help in any way, don't hesitate to call on me. If nothing else, I can just yell real loud, long enough until we get somebody to listen. So thank you all again for what you're doing. I want you to know you are appreciated. You're the center of Kentucky. Everybody's kind of watching you. And so just keep up the good work. Thanks, and God bless you all.